Joining me now, Chadwick Moore, author of the book So You've Been Sent to Diversity Training. Chadwick, I call diversity the death of everything. Just because it's not as if there's going to be a formal report of, hey, this train derailed because our CEO's an idiot now. We're never going to get an official notice. Everything around us is just going to freaking die as we just attempt to gay everything up instead of focusing on merit.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And if you if you read these like diversity memos that I read many while researching this book from, corporate sends out some diversity decree, they sort of read like it's this amorphous office fixture that no one can quite really understand. There's really no purpose explained to it other than its own innate goodness. Diversity is just good. This is just something that is unquestioned and has to be forced down everyone's throats at even in the office, of course, everywhere in life, but especially in the office. But it's never quite really explained like why it's good, like what the goal is and how once you've achieved that goal. Like where does this train going? Nobody knows. It's just there to sort of support itself. And then, of course, force an ideology down people's throats where, honestly, it doesn't belong. It does not belong in the office.
It is interesting that they never do, with all the emails of, hey, make sure you're here on Friday for coffee and how racist you are, that you never find out what the final goal is. You're never given a heads up about that. Why do you think that is, Chadwick?
Well, it fits in line with all leftist philosophies. Everything is a struggle. There is no, there is Valhalla. We will reach it one day. Not really, but we promise you, if you just do what we're told, then we will get there. It's like climate change. It's like anything else that they try to force down your throats, anything they believe in, because that's, of course, the bread and butter of how they get and maintain political power. It's a spiritual struggle. It's nothing that you can quite tangibly measure or grasp. It's just you have to continue listening to us and doing power because we are taking you to the promised land. Heaven on earth awaits. Just give us more power and submit to what we're saying.
How effective is this stuff? Because you've talked to people, you've interviewed people who actually had to go through all this diversity training crap. I have never had to do so, but what effect did it have on them? Did it have an impact?
Well, the thing is, it has the effect of, what they're essentially teaching and is the golden rule, which you learn in kindergarten, which is treat others as you'd like to be treated. No adult in America needs to go through a lecture being told that, a lecture on the person's skin color in the cubicle next to them. And yet here we are. Now, a lot of it sort of seemed, a lot of this diversity training stuff has been around for a very long time. And it was seeming sort of innocuous to a lot of people up until it's just one of these stupid things you have to sit through. And I talk to people from, all walks of life. I talk to, office workers, secretaries. I talk to guys on oil rigs who have to go through this stuff. I have a chapter on policing and the NYPD, another chapter on the military. And at the end of the day, it's like, it really took a dark and sinister turn, almost everyone noticed, after the summer of George Floyd, obviously. That's when critical race theories seemed to really, really enter into the curriculum. That's when corporates seemed to think that everyone in their office and across the world in some cases, working in places that aren't in the United States, that have nothing to do with American politics, really needed to address these political issues on company time. They felt that this was very important. And they were sending out emails about, how to cope with George Floyd. If you need to, speak with our diversity czar because you're really struggling in the office right now. And then the second thing that really changed was when Joe Biden was declared the president of the United States. And that was because he immediately, even before assuming office, said he was going to make diversity, equity, and inclusion a top priority of his administration. The equity is new. And a lot of these diversity offices were previously called diversity and inclusion. Immediately after Joe Biden was elected president, a lot of them changed their names to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that equity, that E, is really the most sinister part of all this, because of course it's just means socialism, and it's heavily skewed towards race and racism. So that's how it's really sort of rapidly changed a lot from something that before most people wouldn't even think much about, just some waste of time. They have to spend an hour once a year sitting through some seminar.
Chadwick, a lot of people, myself included, actually have a hard time understanding why this push is so there when if you or I, you lay it out perfectly in your book, when we talk about how ridiculous it is, it's not really an argument that can be argued against. It is ridiculous if I'm picking a staff here for the show. If I'm only going to hire black people. Well, how many qualified people did I just disqualify by that? But so everyone knows the arguments are sound. Yet the entire country has submitted to something that's insane. Why? What's wrong with us?
Well, not even insane. It's also infantilizing. You know, it's treating adults like they're babies and that they can't figure these things out on their own. There's so many reasons of why you see this, especially encroaching into the workplace. A lot of it, especially in some industries like the energy industry, a lot of it is currying favor with liberal governments. So, you know, if something like the oil industry, of course, they're in the crosshairs by liberal governments because they want green energy. So one way they can curry favor is with massive diversity pushes. Another reason for this is, of course, you have these kind of woke millennials in the office who just really believe that there should be no separation between work and home and politics in the social world. They believe their jobs are corporate citizens, so their jobs must address these issues they believe very passionately in. And those are two main reasons why you're seeing this. And then another one is you have this whole industry that has built up around the idea of diversity, equity, inclusion, where hundreds of billions of dollars, if not more, are spent with this self-sustaining woke industry that needs to, of course, find relevance over and over again. Always needs to justify its existence and justify its presence. And you've got these sort of festooned Templars of the diversity industry who write best-selling books. They charge $50,000 to give a virtual presentation. You know, they're very much invested in keeping this narrative going and to convincing people that this is needed when actually, you know, it's obviously not.
These people just live to sell books, like me. I would never bring up the anti-communist manifesto that can be bought at jessekelleybook.com for pre-order. Chadwick, tell me about your book.
Yeah, well, so you can order it on Amazon. Sorry, I know some people don't like Amazon, but that wasn't my decision. And it's a lot of fun, because I think like you, Jesse, my dude, that we believe in mocking the left and having fun with them. And it's really the thing that annoys them the most. They really, really despise being laughed at and ridiculed. So I hope to have fun in the book. I wanted people to laugh and I wanted people to feel better about it and also maybe learn a thing or two. And give it to your the HR people in your office or anyone who has to go through this stuff. I think it'd be a great gift to some of the human resources departments.
No question it would. Chadwick, I appreciate you, man. Come back.